Okay, so I have the file stored in the folder. I have various versions of Blender, so I just open. I think the minimum version that can open this file is 4.2. There we go. It has this error about the Python scripting. You don't have to worry about that. If you don't want to see it, you can just ignore it or click somewhere else. So here we have the window for what the animation would look like on viewport render, and then here's the model. So what I have selected, which is what is highlighted in yellow, is the mesh. When I click edit on it, you can see that it has a lot of vertices, and that's which have all come together to create that face. The other item, this is the camera, and then these other things are the armature or the bones. The armature is inside, for the most part, is inside the mesh. You have these other parts here, the controller, they're called controllers. To adjust the armature, you have to go into pose mode, and to adjust any action for any particular bone manually, you can just click the specific bone and be able to go to this the properties panel here and be able to adjust rotation for unless the bone, there's only one bone that you can adjust the location of the mesh with, and that has to be enabled. There's a bone here that moves the entire. Actually, in this one there's layers of bones, so there's only one bone that will move the entire model. And right now that bone is inaccessible, so I cannot click on it because there's bone layers and things like that. Maybe it's not necessary for us to move the mesh. So all we're doing right now is doing the facial expressions and the movement of the head. Okay, so this has to be, so adjustment of the armature, the bones, has to be in pose mode. For you to see what the armature is doing, for instance, for you to see facial expressions, you have to select the mesh instead of the bones, and then so that you're able to see clearly on the viewport. Although there's a picture here, so you can see it from here too. If you want to see clearly from the viewport, you would just shut this off, so the bones go away. And to bring them back, you can just click on that again, and all the other items that are distracting. So okay, over here with the expressions, hold on. To get, yeah, we have the face selected, the mesh. So this is how we're able to access the expressions by going on this is called the properties panel, which these are the other types of panels that this it can become. It can be the outliner, which is similar to what is up here. It could be the file browser, and so forth, so on and so forth. So we come to the properties panel with the head selected, and here you have, if we come to the data icon here with the triangle, is you have your various expressions, and you can see here that they're all on zero, meaning that the face is right now in default mode. Okay, so for instance, if you want to smile, you can just go here, click on the left mouse button and drag on this area. When you're in this area, and it will change. You can see the expressions are changing from neutral to smile. If you want it to be sad, you select sad there, click on the value, and when you drag it to 1, maximum sadness, minimum, no sadness, maximum sadness. If you want to be angry, no anger, maximum anger, when the mouth opens, and so forth. Worried, no worry, maximum worry. Okay, and you can mix your expressions, maybe uh, partially angry, and then maybe a little bit sad, you know, so, and get numerous expressions. I think that's the ability that the having this kind of setup gives you, to get you get very many expressions from just these 4 shape keys. Now we come to the if we come to the bones. um, in order to adjust the bones, we have to go to pose mode. Okay. This model already comes with animation. So when we, let's say we hide the armature, and we pull up to pull up other panels, you just have to make sure your mouse pointer comes to this corner here, or like this corner here, and at the moment it turns to a plus sign, then you know it's ready to do the splitting, and you can just drag up and it will give you another panel, and you can just select what you'd like. So for this one, we're going to need for us to do the bone movement, we want to look at, oh, actually, let's go look at the timeline first. Okay, so the timeline right now is 2 seconds. This is 48 frames. Each frame when rendering, this one now works at 25 frames per second, but normally it's 24. Okay, and 24 means that here you have exactly 2 seconds, because it's 48 frames. That means that the amount of time that the animation happens is exactly 2 seconds. So if I go back here, first of all, let me just make sure. I think this is a neutral face, and if I press play, because the model already was imported with animation, there's bound to be some animation that will occur. So if you can see, like if I press play, the eyes look down and look up, look down, look up, and you can you can change, you can do many expressions. You don't have to do the eyes only. You can you can mix facial expressions and bone movements. So you can have the person look down while their head is tilting up, for instance. And we'd have to actually keyframe that action, uh, or if it's already installed, or if it's already part of the file, then you should be able to go there and make adjustments that you need for those two things to happen at the same time. For instance, let's see if we go to the bone, which is in right now, and we know that it's looking down probably because some animation is going on. So we have to figure out, first of all, is it the look down? It has to be like a bone animation, because if we turn on the armature and we look at the bone active, what happens to the bones when we press play, we'll be able to see that. You can see that the armature is what is causing that. This controller for the eye bones is the one that's causing the, um, the model to look down. So that means so far that's the only action that is selected. Now, to know how to change the action that you need, that you want to, if to change which action you're animating, you come down to something they call a NLA editor, and you access it by clicking on here, and then under this animation part section here, then the very bottom one is non-linear animation. That's what we want. Uh, if we pull this up, we'll see that right now, currently, the one that's selected is look down. Okay, and that's why this is why the animation that's playing when we press play. But we can change that, and to change that, we go to Dope Sheet, and then we go to Action Editor under Dope Sheet, and that way we'll be able to find. Let's see. We should be able to find, actually, maybe not necessary to go to Action Editor, but we'll be able to find the action. The look down action has not been stashed. So it needs to, the look down action must be stashed in order for us to be able to change the expression, the bone movement that we want. Okay, so to do that, we just click on stash here, and then it goes away. You won't see any of the animations here. Actually, let me just do that. I'll show you something else. If we do that, actually that doesn't help much, but yeah, let's just stash it for now. Come back here to nonlinear editor, and we'll see that the action that was there before is gone. But now we have the ability to choose any other action that we want. So for instance, now we want to look up. What we have to do is click on that and click on the action. And I think if you press play, then the person is going to look up. The model is going to look up. As you can see, it's doing that right now. You can see the armature is moving accordingly. You can go back and select a different action. Let's say look right. And if I click that, click the action here, select, select that, and then when we press play, the character is looking right. But we can't see that right now because the way the model is right now is now solid mode. This is called solid mode, where there are no colors. Let's see if we can be able to see a little bit different if we press the material mode. Okay, so even in material mode, we'll still have just a uniform color. It's the same color all through. Or maybe render. Okay, that's not gonna work. So possibly the situation is here that we need to be in some type of um, render engine in order to see the model correctly, to see it being as a hologram. So let's try cycles. Most likely that's gonna be best for that. If you press play, I think the issue here is that we haven't installed the textures for the model. If we go here, if we wanted to locate the textures for the model, we go here to this tab here. I mean this icon, and we select shader editor. And if we get out of the armature by going back to object mode and select the model itself, and by hitting the home key, we should be able to find the sorry, should be able to find the to center the nodes which affect the color of the model. Just a moment. So these are the nodes that will determine the color of the model. As you can see, there's images here. That's why the model is looking like this. There's images here, and my computer doesn't know where these images are located. Because if it looks on the folder for Martin, the images are not there. So these need to be brought in. And if you are in the right folder, you have to just usually test a folder that contains a file. So they would have the textures there. So when you click on that folder and you find the texture, it should match this name. So long as if it matches the name and you click open image, then the texture that is appropriate for that part of the model will show up. So we'll go back to solid mode right now, and I think I'll come back to that when we discuss textures later on. So now, okay, so we have the model moving right, moving the eye. So let's look at other movements that you could do. So let's see, we could go to the nonlinear animation again, and let's see how the turn right. We got a turn right activity here, so we could select that like this, and you can see that even before I started pressing play, the armature had already moved because we're in the middle. We're not at the initial keyframe. We're at keyframe 18. But if you take it back to start, then it goes back to the neutral position, and then if you press play, you can see that it turns. Okay, it looks right, and that is this. It should be like one of these bones here. Let's see if we can select the armature and then go to pose mode. Yeah, it should be one of this. It should be one of these bones here that's causing that movement with the head. Or this one here, probably, possibly. Oh, actually, it's this one. So it's moving the whole jaw and the whole bottom part of the head, and then the rest is being done by this bone here. So that's how you do the animation of the of the model to make it turn right. You can stop that, and if you uncheck the star, then it doesn't do it anymore. It doesn't do anything. No action is done. So let's see. Look up. That's the last one we can do. Press. You can see the model does a good job. Looks up, just as we expected. To You can decide to have these actions follow each other, like look down, then look up, or something like that. In order to do that, you'd have to, first of all, increase the amount of time that you have here. Okay, and then you can drag one action into another action. Just hit G. Maybe this can be done. I think this can only be done. Actually, no. You could just come here. Say we have this look down action, and you want, like, after it finishes looking down, you want it to look up. So you just add an action, and it will ask you. Let's see. Add a track. No, we don't want to add a track. We want to add an action onto this particular. Just a moment. These actions can be stacked together. Okay, let's if I copy this, and maybe I'm just doing the wrong thing. I'm doing the exact thing that's supposed to be done, but then you can just paste. Although this can only be done in edit mode, maybe. Could be possible that that's what it needs. Oh wait, I think this is a dope sheet action. So first of all, we select the amateur, come down to dope sheet, summary. Well, first of all, we have to we have to be in nonlinear mode. Select which action that we want. Actually, I think even this padlocks here have an effect on what action, what does what. So let's try and bring that over there. Just a moment. Oh wait, you can select it here. So you have look down. There you go. You have look down right there as an activity. This is with action editor. And there's another action. All these are keyframes. Somebody has clicked here and clicked the time here. At this time at 48, clicked on I after moving the bone. Okay. So that's what happened here, and that's why the model does. And of course, when you're in edit mode, it can't. There'll be no movement of the bones, even when you try to animate them. The only way they'll be able to, the only way the model or the bones can move is if they're in object mode or in pose mode. Okay, and you can see that. But if in edit mode, nothing happens. Okay, because that's where the bone sizes and the bone properties are adjusted. So there is a way to add another action onto this the one that you had previously without having to keyframe again. I just it's having an issue here trying to get that to work there. Let's see, here it is. So let's say we want to look. It's already look up, so we want to look down after. So now if we go back to, let's say, hide these. Let's hide that. So you can see now what will happen is you should have enough time when we go back and we select this activity first of all, and we go back to the beginning, we press play, it'll look up, and then when it gets to the other point, it'll look down. Or at least it should have done that. I think it's something that you have to stash, and also this is a second activity, and it has been numbered. So the keyframes might not have transferred through with it. And one way to check out the keyframes is to look on the graph editor. And, yeah, there's movement here. So it's unclear why that's not. Oh, it's your eyes that are looking down, not the body. That's why we're not seeing any movement. It's look up. Look, the action is look up. Okay, hold on. The action is look up and then look down. Look up as in the head looks up and then the eyes look down. You see, you're looking up and then when you come down the eyes look down. So you can combine actions here in LA editor. So let's delete that. Let's go to what next. Okay, I'll look up, look down, test. Let's just test in speak. Okay, you have speak. You can click on that. As you can see, some action happening. Let's take this back down to 48. And when you press play, see there's movement of the mouth, and so forth. All right. Now we've done that. To change, so we've done the animation of the bones. All of them, all these animations are starting at 0, at frame 1. So if you wanted to make a video that's 2 seconds long, already all these actions are the same, have the same length, and they're all 2 seconds, 48 frames, and that's at 24 frames per second. Okay. Now let's say we want to animate the expressions. Okay, so we go back, we get back the amateurs, get out of pose mode, go to object mode, select the amateur, the mesh, hide the bones. Come here to select the mesh, hide the bones, come here to the facial expressions. If you want it at the first second to be neutral, and then you can click on I while hovering over the value of whatever expression it is, the value property. So you can press I and you can see that makes it a keyframe. Then if we go to the last frame, frame 48, and click on that, press 1 for it to be maximum angle, and then press the keyframe again, I for the keyframe. That's what we have. So now if you go back, we can have it animate that the model becoming angry as it goes from the first second to the second, from the first frame to the last frame. As you can see that happening. He's talking and the person's getting angrier, you know. And that's because we've mixed this expression. We've mixed the speaking expression, and the person is getting angrier as they speak more. Okay. To undo that, you just come here and you go clear keyframe here. And you should be able to delete. It should be clear keyframes. Clear to delete this property. Delete keyframe, sorry. And then you come back here, delete keyframe. And then now it's no longer part of that action. So now we can just go back and just talk it in without angle. What next? Let's see. Okay, so we've discussed the textures. We've discussed the opening of the file, the panels, the bones, and how to keyframe various expressions, and the mesh and the texture. Okay, so yeah, the texture is found you have to click this icon, this area here allows you to switch windows. So okay, we go back to shader editor. Like before, you want to make sure you click on the model, and that will give you this is not shader editor, this is the shader editor. That will give you where the colors are, I mean where the texture of the models are. So let me pause this video briefly so I could go back and talk to you about getting the textures for the model, so we can look into what colors, how to change the colors of the model and how to do the hologram effect. Okay, back shortly.